On the night of December 20, 1989, the United States invaded Panama to overthrow dictator Manuel Noriega. This small-scale conflict was full of special operations, some successful, others unsuccessful, involving Rangers, Navy SEALs, and Green Berets. But it was also the first time Delta Force successfully completed a hostage rescue. Old friend, new enemy. Historically, the U.S. has had a tumultuous and colorful relationship with Noriega. He was a longtime CIA collaborator, but was also known for drug trafficking. After the Iran-Contra operation was exposed, Noriega's usefulness to the United States diminished. As relations between the two countries deteriorated, Noriega went on the offensive, arresting Kurt Muse, a CIA agent who owned a publishing company in Panama, on espionage charges and threatening to execute him. Noriega held Muse in the overcrowded Modelo prison. The prison was located in the center of Panama City, near Comandancia, which was Panamania's Pentagon, and within sight of the headquarters of the U.S. Southern Command. To make matters worse, Noriega told Muse that he would be killed on the spot if a rescue attempt was made. To back up his threat, the general ordered a guard to remain stationed near Muse's cell at all times, tasked with killing the American in the event of a rescue mission. On December 16, Panamanian troops attacked a civilian vehicle carrying 4 American officers, killing one and wounding another. After this, the development of Operation Acid Gambit began. A bold plan. The intelligence for the operation was not the most detailed, and Delta planners had to rely on reports from the American doctor who was caring for Muse. From him, they learned where Muse was located and the general layout of the building. The final plan was to land on the roof, break open the door on the roof, and go down 2 floors to reach Muse's cell. The assault team will then fly off in MH-6 helicopters with their precious cargo. The mission to rescue Muse was given to the 2nd Detachment of Company A, 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment, Delta. 4 A-6 Little Bird helicopters from the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, known as the Night Stalkers, are to drop 23 Delta operators on the roof of the prison. The operation was led by Lieutenant Colonel Eldon Bargewell, a legendary commando with extensive Vietnam War experience, and Major Gary Harrell. In the months leading up to the mission, Delta operators practiced the operation several times. The assault team was prepared to depart from Howard Air Force Base in Panama, which was just a short flight from the prison. The operation was to begin 15 minutes before the main invasion to ensure surprise. Release in 6 minutes. A few minutes before 1 o'clock on December 20, the operation began. As the assault team approached Modelo Prison, 2 AC-130 Spectre attack helicopters and several A-6 Little Birds, which were the attack version of the MH-6, began strafing Comandancia to divert attention from the arriving rescuers. 4 A-6s led the assault team to the roof of the prison, but almost immediately Panamanians ran out from neighboring buildings and began shooting at them. The Delta Force squad headed for the rooftop exit, while the security squad provided covering fire. Snipers took out guards on nearby towers, and machine gun operators cleared the courtyard of enemies. Explosives experts prepared a powerful charge for the door on the roof, expecting it to be heavily fortified. But it turned out to be an ordinary door, and the explosion from the charge shook the entire building. When the rescue team entered the prison, they encountered some resistance, killing 2 guards and capturing one, who was unarmed and offered no resistance. In the cell, the guys had to blow up Kurt's door with another charge, said the Delta veteran. They told him to hide in his small bathroom so he wouldn't get blown to pieces by the flying door. Meanwhile, the operator, lowered from the roof on a cable, hung outside the window of Muse's cell to make sure that the guard who was supposed to kill Muse was neutralized, but this precaution turned out to be unnecessary. The guard simply was not there. Once inside the chamber, Delta operators gave Muse a helmet, body armor, and goggles before heading back to the helicopter. Only 6 minutes elapsed between the time the Delta operators landed on the roof and the moment they called for the evacuation helicopters waiting in the air. 6 minutes that took forever, wrote Colin Powell, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff at the time. "It's not over yet." Age 6 Little Bird took off with Muse from the roof, but immediately fell straight to the ground due to its heavy weight. The Night Stalker's pilots managed to straighten out the birdie and drive along the street before landing in a cemetery. When the battered MH-6 attempted to take off again, it came under enemy fire. One operator was shot in the chest and fell out of the helicopter 6 meters from the ground, as did another who was trying to hold him back. Little Bird crash-landed, injuring 2 other operators. One of them, Sergeant First Class James Conan Sutterth, lost several toes when the skids of the helicopter caught his leg, but Sutterth, who had remarkable strength, was able to lift the helicopter so that he could free himself. The MH-6 pilots and Kurt Muse were not injured. The wounded operators hurriedly took up a defensive position in a nearby building and used an infrared strobe light to report their position to helicopters overhead. A few minutes later, they were rescued by armored personnel carriers carrying Delta operators and medics from the main invasion force. All operators managed to recover from the consequences of the crash and injuries and returned to duty. Despite his injuries, Conan continued to serve in the unit, even graduating from Combat Diver School, completing one of the most difficult special operations courses in the Army. A Delta operator who served with Sutterth shared his memories. One A-6 was shot down nearby in the Comandancia area, but the Night Stalker's pilots flying it managed to escape safely. Before the events in Panama, Delta was involved in the failed rescue of Americans held hostage in Iran in 1980, which led to changes in the Special Operations Command structure and the creation of the Night Stalkers. Thanks to the successful rescue of Muse, almost 10 years after Operation Eagle Claw, Delta was finally able to shed its reputation as losers.